two old guys and their records, one old guy for now, while Sydney's lockdown restrictions continue. Okay, Mike and I decided to press on with some fun segments about our passion for our records. Okay, all this week we're looking at our favourite 7-inch 4-track EPs, although yesterday's was a 5-track EP by the Rolling Stones, 5x5. Okay, we're looking at our favourite EPs. Okay, so before we start, don't forget to like us on our Facebook page, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and keep those comments coming through. Okay, so today's episode is definitely a Wayne's World moment where we are not worthy because we've got our heavy artillery coming out. Today's favourite EP is none other than Jimi Hendrix, Are You Experienced? The Australian 4-track EP that was released in 1967 to coincide with the debut album Are You Experienced? Okay, and this is an incredible moment in rock history. Okay, Jimi Hendrix's debut album, and of course, you know, the EP and the singles that came with it. Okay, so Jimi Hendrix revolutionizing music almost single-handedly, right? Okay, so this is all killer, no filler. Okay, with songs such as The Wind Cries Mary, Purple Haze, Hey Joe, and 51st Anniversary. As you can see, you know, you've got some brilliant tracks on it. Okay, so at this point I usually have a clip of context. Okay, but before I get to that, I want to sort of talk about the context on the sleeve notes here by Nick Jones, because he says something very, very important about Jimi Hendrix's early life. He possesses the aura of a man who has seen and been through a lot of life. His own started in Seattle, Washington in 1945 and took off from there. Tenements, rats, cockroaches, poverty, colour prejudice, hitching around the South, the occasional gig, eventually joined the blues tour but was soon penniless again. Jimi Hendrix is definitely a restless spirit in the 1960s who cannot handle restrictions and obstacles. So let's have a look at his life. Being discharged from the army, he gets involved in the Chitlin and R&B circuits, but he quickly outgrew these circuits. He's in and out of bands such as the Old Brothers, Little Richard's backing band, the Upsetters, who actually fired him for his clothing and his antiques on stage, and also Curtis Knight and the Squires, but he finds all this really, really restrictive, okay, and he ends up in Greenwich Village, New York City, where he's got a residency there at certain bars. Okay, it's at the Cheetah Bar that he meets Linda Keith, who's Keith Richards' girlfriend, and she recommends him to Andrew Luke Oldham, the Rolling Stones manager and producer Seymour Stein. Is this the Decca moment for Oldham and Stein because they reject him? So Linda Keith recommends him to Chas Chandler, who's in the Animals, and he's about to leave the Animals to pursue a producer role, and he liked Jimi Hendrix's Hey Joe version, so he invites him over to the UK. At this point, I want to return to the sleeve notes of the EP because it has Jimi Hendrix's reply to this invitation. So listen to what he had to say. He sort of says, "I didn't have no roots in the States that would hang me up. It don't matter which bit of the world I'm in, as long as I'm living and putting things down." So Jimi Hendrix's arrival in London is all about recruiting the perfect musicians for this proposed band. And of course, Noel Redding and Mitch Mitchell are recruited for the Jimi Hendrix Experience. There's a great story about Cream performing at the London Polytechnic, where Jimi Hendrix arrives and he asks, "Can I sort of do a few numbers?" And he gets on stage and plays, and of course there's nothing over the top at this point. He just plays, right? He does his thing, and then he gets off stage, and Eric Clapton is quoted many years later saying, you know, he got off the stage and my life was never the same after that again. Okay, so wow. The first Jimi Hendrix Experience show is October 13th, 1966. They signed for Track Records in November 1966 at the Bag of Nails Club. Eric Clapton, Jeff Beck, members of the Beatles, members of the Stones, and Pete Townsend all witness an incredible performance by Jimi Hendrix and of course the Experience, and they're all gobsmacked with what they have to compete with. And there's a lot of flurry here now, movement. Like Hey Joe, the single is released before Christmas and it reaches number 6, and then Purple Haze is released in March 1967, that reaches number 3, and of course the rock ballad follows with The Wind Cries Mary, and that reaches number 6. At this point, can I emphasise that Jimi Hendrix in London is being Jimi Hendrix himself. This is where there are no restrictions, right? He can be himself. There's no band leader telling him what to do, as in the States. Okay, so he can express himself the way he wants in the studio as well as live, right? So, yes, everything comes out in London, the true Jimi Hendrix. Okay, and we can see that with the first album, Are You Experienced, which is a fusion of all these different styles, whether it's rock, whether it's blues, whether it's psychedelia or ballads, whatever, it all comes out in this fantastic debut album that's rated one of the best debut albums ever, right? But, right, this EP reinforces it with the 3 singles, okay, Hey Joe, Purple Haze, The Wind Cries Mary, and the best B-side, 51st Anniversary. So let's have a look at some of the songs. They're iconic, you already know them, but let's have a look at them. Hey Joe, right, the psychedelia to this blues traditional song, although there's a guy called Billy Roberts who tried to register it in the early 60s. He's a folk singer. Okay, look at the way he has slowed it down. Okay, he's slowed it down. They reckon that maybe Jimi Hendrix saw this version performed by the British band Creation, and there's also maybe Creation got their version from Tim Rose. So there's a bit of a chain there for Hey Joe, the version that Jimi Hendrix Experience does, right? But, you know, it is, his voice is mellifluous, okay? The guitar work is flowing, you know, I gave her the gun, I shot her, okay? What a climax. And now the persona has to try and escape to the south, right? Where he can be free, right? Where he can be free. Now, let's have a look at Purple Haze. What a song. It's a song that I listen to over and over again. Have I heard it 100 times? Have I heard it 1,000 times? I've lost count, right? But the rock and psychedelia to Purple Haze is amazing. Is it about drugs? Is it about a girl? We don't know, right? But he does say, you know, that girl put a spell on me. Is it the girl? Excuse me while I kiss the sky. Right? Is it about drugs? Now, in 1967, he couldn't come out and say, you know something, this song is about, you know, drugs. It would have been his professional suicide. But we can only sort of wonder what it's all about, okay? But I love the pauses of the song. Excuse me while I kiss the sky, and then bang into the guitar. Perfect song, okay? Perfect song. And then just to sort of, you know, put the foot off the pedal, we have a beautiful ballad called And the Wind Cries Mary, okay? And, you know, I love the lyrics to it. Okay, it's so poetic. He sort of says, will the wind remember the names it has blown in the past? And with its crutch, the old age and its wisdom, it whispers, no, this will be the last. So how poetic is this? And it's such a tender moment on the EP as well as on the album itself. So very, very tender. And it shows, you know, his diversity. It shows his diversity as a musician as well as a songwriter. Okay, and of course we ended off with 51st Anniversary, and it's a great song looking at marriage backwards. You've got the couple at their 50th anniversary looking at their 51st, and then it goes back in time in decades until the young man who's not really ready to commit himself to marriage. Now, some people are saying the song is about, you know, non-commitment to marriage. Other people say that it's about, you know, the different stages in marriage, right? But maybe it's about, you know, being ready for that commitment. Okay, so great song. And that's how we cap off this EP. Now, we'd love to hear from you. Please send in your comments. Don't forget to like us on our Facebook page, subscribe to our channel, and also bring in those comments. Perfect EP. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow with another EP, another great EP. Until then, see you then.